Georgia is losing a position coach. Brian McClendon off to the NFL. What is Kirby Smart and staff going to do? Where are they going to turn? Where should they not turn? These are things we're going to talk about. And then there's another Georgia coach, a basketball coach, that we're going to have to talk about him and his future and whether or not it's at UGA at all. All of that today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. He is Daniel, I am Clint. Together, we are Locked On Bulldogs. So thanks for making us your first listen of the day, and also thank you to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is today's title sponsor. More on them in a moment. Daniel said it. We have a number of things, coaching staff related to talk about at UGA. One being the beloved position coach. Says sayonara off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Sure thing.
Which, I don't mean to brag, but currently right now, today, I have a closer connection to 3 NFL head coaches than probably anybody else in America to those 3, well, except for all the teammates that I played with. So I suppose we all share the same thing. 3 NFL, Copa Canales over at Tampa Bay head coaching gets a good one. And then also we're talking about the basketball team and what a spiral down the toilet has been. And yeah,
it ain't great. Buckle up for the third segment.
Yeah, loyal third segment listeners, stick with us.
It ain't great.
Gerf,
let's start with BMAC though. Brian McClendon been on this staff for a while, been with Kirby Smart for a while, and let's just paint a picture here, because
get out the brushes.
I think this is a big blow for Georgia, and there are Georgia fans that are trying to spin this as a positive thing for Georgia. And listen, I'm not denying that there are probably better recruiters out there than Brian McClendon, and there are certainly Georgia fans that have been frustrated with the wide receiver recruiting specifically at Georgia. And you can understand that, because you look at the linebackers Georgia's signing, Clint, and they are the absolute upper crust cream of the crop year in and year out every single year. You look at the quarterbacks that Georgia's signing, and they are among the upper crust of college football. Same can be said of offensive linemen, of safeties, of corners, of, there's certainly tight ends, the multitude of positions in which Georgia's recruiting very well. Wide receiver, that has not been the case. Georgia has not signed the 1 or 2 best wide receivers coming out of high school, with a couple of notable exceptions like George Pickens. And so there's been some murmurs around the Georgia fan base about Brian McClendon and his ability to recruit. But please, let me make no mistake about this. This is a big loss for Georgia, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want Brian McClendon? Do you have to recruit in the NFL? You do not. You do not have to recruit. Money does the recruiting. Free agency does the recruiting.
There's a man or woman whose job it is to just manage the roster in totality and take care of the payroll.
So what did they want out of Brian McClendon? Well, it wasn't to recruit. They wanted Brian McClendon because what he does is he develops these wide receivers, and he gets the absolute most out of them, as well as anyone in all of college football. I would argue that the reason you're pointing to as why you're frustrated with Brian McClendon is the exact reason that you should be really upset for Georgia and happy for Brian McClendon, but upset for Georgia that Brian McClendon's leaving, because he has taken guys like Lad McConkey, guys like A.D. Mitchell, guys like in his tenure, he has taken guys, elevated them, gotten the most out of them, made them into incredibly productive college players, and also turned them into productive pro players as well. He has been a huge asset for Georgia, and I think has proven that there's more than one way to build an elite roster in college football.
Yeah.
And he's done it in his position room through development of players, not just through recruiting.
I think this is so wild to me as people don't understand simple metrics and the maths. Let's go over the maths of trying to recruit.
Well, math is hard, so
admittedly, we understand that.
Mm-hmm.
When you go after and chase 5-star kids, there's only a certain percentage that are 5-star, 4 stars, 3 stars to begin with. When you're talking the upper crust wide receivers and Georgia fans saying, we need them. Okay. If you spend time, energy, and money to recruit those guys, because those guys take time, energy, and money to do so, it's a simple equation of people don't have the bandwidth to do it to everybody. So Georgia has prioritized, like you said, the linebackers, safeties, DBs, ends, quarterbacks. Hello, we just went through 3 of a run on quarterbacks. One of which didn't pull out for us, Dylan Raiola, and that sucks. He's elsewhere. Tight ends. Hello,
Ryan Puglisi, not elsewhere, by the way. He doing just fine right here.
He doing just fine. And mark our words. We said this when we had him on the show.
We fine.
We are fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you do that, when Brian Clinton is helping recruit elsewhere and developing guys, Kirby Smart has a very simple understanding of how to do it. You can only put all of your eggs not in one basket, but you have to spread them out to try to get these kids, try to get these cats. And if you want to go after the 5-star, it takes time, energy, and money of Kirby Smart recruiting efforts. And that's going to detract from other positions. So all of a sudden you can be Ohio State, who says, let's go get wide receivers, running backs, quarterback. Okay, that's great. Have they won a national
championship? And then what happens, Clint?
And then you get still beat, even though you have a generational quarterback and a generational wide receiver, you still get beat.
Well, you're Ohio State. If you try to go out and be Ohio State, you better be careful because you might accidentally get what you want. And that would be to be Ohio State.
It's just like the people saying Mike Bobo needs to have an offense that goes for 550 a game and puts up 42 points. Yeah. He has a regulator on him. It's called Kirby Smart. And I'm glad for that regulator because it wins games.
It's the same people that said, I'd rather have a 5-star quarterback than Stetson Bennett.
There it is. Yeah, it's the same people.
Those people are idiots. And so
the Venn diagram is just a big cluster.
One big circle of idiots.
There's a phrase for it.
Brian McClendon was absolutely exceptional at getting these guys and elevating them to a level of play. So please don't be the person that's going to immediately be like, yes, this is great for Georgia. He was a terrible recruiter and now we're rid of him. Be careful what you want because we might replace him. We might replace him with a better recruiter. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. That is a legitimate possibility. Georgia's wide receiver recruiting might go up. And still the wide receiver room might not be as good as it has been under Brian McClendon. So it's a little bit of a be careful. It is a blow for Georgia, but we are going to talk about some of the upside and where Georgia and Kirby Smart might be looking in the future. But first, I want to talk about these.
These are, in fact, LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. LinkedIn is fantastic. Gets the right people onto your team, gets you onto the right team yourself. And right now, if you go over LinkedIn jobs, post your job, it's going to put a little border around your profile, letting everybody know you're hiring, and you get millions and millions and millions of network people that know the right person. Stop messing around with these weird interview questions, these weird processing cues to get people into your team. No, stop that. Just go get the right person, and the people you know the right person for your team. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's who you know. LinkedIn Jobs has a network of people, interview process questions to get you the right candidate or for you to get on the right team. And right now, post your job for free. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege.
So
All right,
where
Daniel,
is Kirby gonna go, Clint?
This is a fun game to be playing in February, if I can be totally honest with you. Real fun game because here are your options. Dude sitting on the couch, option 1.
Couch dude.
Okay. Well, that's less than advantageous in my understanding of how you get coaching and good coaching. Not the best. 2, you got to go poach dude from another highly respected school, which is not easy to do this
can
late
be
in the
done.
game. It can be done, but not
If
easy.
if you're Georgia, come in
Georgia.
swinging the big stick.
That's right. Or 3, you promote from within. These are the options. Okay. Now let's take one off the table. We're not promoting from within.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
So that's
off
easy.
the table. Okay, great. Down to
And
2.
it would be different if there's just not. You probably don't have in-house the analysts right now that are fit to move into this position. We're gonna put Will Muschamp in there, like we could move him back onto the field.
Different. It's a different flavor and tone of the wide receiver room to the DB room. Let me just.
That's like when you gotta. I don't want to overgeneralize, but you'll say you have more than one child.
Okay.
You don't speak to them all in the same tone of voice. You know what I'm trying to say? You have some children who maybe they need a firmer hand. They need a bit of a harsh tone.
Direct.
They need to really be direct and get your point across. You got some that you got to bend down. You got to be nurturing. You use the real soft voice and you approach them. Those are the wide receivers. That's your wide receiver room right there. You can't be putting old Coach Boom in the wide receiver room and trying to get
The second a whiteboard takes an L, the whole team, the whole group just gone. We out.
Let me speak to something directly, Clint. And I don't know how you feel about this because we haven't talked about this. Typically, we have the mind meld going, but we'll see. Maybe we'll disagree about this. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out why Georgia fans would legitimately want Hines Ward to come and be the wide receiver coach at Georgia. And I'm going to take a lot of heat for that. I get it. I understand.
You will.
I'm going to get it in the comments. Let me get out in front and say, I love Hines Ward. He's one of my top 5 all-time favorite Georgia players from my life. And my life as a Georgia fan has likely been longer than yours has because I'm old. And so I love Hines Ward. I loved him in Athens. I loved him on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I loved him on Dancing with the Stars. I loved everything that he's ever done. Do you know what he's never done?
What's that?
Coach college football. That's all. Like none. 0, none. Not one, never, none.
Well, I mean, as a Florida Atlantic.
But none. But okay, just what I'm trying to say. None.
I'm just making sure.
No relevant experience for coming in to Georgia other than being a former Georgia wide receiver that, again, I'm going to take some heat. People are not going to love it. None of these kids know Hines Ward. No. Like these 16-year-old kids, you think they know Hines Ward? You think they remember Hines Ward from when they were 5 and the Steelers won the Super Bowl? Is that what you think? No, they don't. They don't have a clue who Hines Ward. He doesn't move the needle in that respect. But even that, who do you think Kirby Smart is? That this is what, I don't want to say which coach would make that hire because there's no need to just throw stones on the podcast.
Well,
but that ain't a Kirby Smart hire. I don't.
That's the thing I'm realizing. Deion Sanders can go ahead and try to hire whoever he wants. Okay. Kirby Smart is going to get. Do you all remember? I'm sorry to keep on bashing on you guys for the horrible takes that we as fans have. And can we just admit we as fans have bad takes?
All of us.
It's a collective we. I've had bad
Georgia
takes.
Fans can be among the worst.
We are. Okay. Remember when some of us were saying Todd Monken was such a boring hire? Old curmudgeon-y man.
Doesn't move the needle at all. Failed at most every stop he's been to.
Remember when he was with the Browns? How, oh my gosh, he was the
Putrid.
Browns. Golly, how awful is that? He's old. He can't connect with these kids.
Oh, he'll
What
never
is
be able to
Kirby?
recruit. We'll never recruit anyone with Todd Monken. That was commonly said.
Okay, so Kirby Smart is going to find to you and to me what we might think a boring hire is. But I promise you this, it will not be boring. It will be foundational. It will be solid. It will be stable. It will be based on well-respected in coaching circles. That's who he's going to go get. I'm not saying Harsworth is not respected. He is very respected. But USFL or whatever he is coaching these days, I'm not trying to show, like, it's just not the same. Like, Georgia is a step above what he is doing right now in talent and skill level with those developmental players. No shade, no hate, nothing like that. Just saying, you need people to develop, or you need somebody that has such a name that when he stops into a high school, the entire high school shuts down to go see him. And that's the type of cachet you need to recruit at that level or develop. And Hines he hasn't shown the ability to develop wide receivers. He might have that cachet, but
I could be shocked. Maybe Kirby Smart will make that hire. Like, maybe that'll be the hire. But I'm just telling you, I don't see it at all. And
it will be out of character.
It's going to sound incredibly disrespectful to say it this way, and I do not mean it. I genuinely do not mean it disrespectfully. It would be a charity hire. Like, it would be charity. It would be Kirby Smart doing Hines Ward a charitable act. Like, he doesn't deserve the job.
That's what he did with Mike Bobo too.
He doesn't deserve the job. Like, that's not you. And none of you are arguing that he deserves the job. You're arguing,
you just remember him.
Bring him home. That's your argument for why he should be hired.
You remember him smiling as he slayed fools blocking downfield 30 yards, which is a fantastic memory, by the way.
That's right.
It's different for coaching.
That ain't it. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't know who Kirby's going to hire, but I do not see it being Hines Ward.
No.
And I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before.
No.
Prepared to be wrong again, but I don't.
Ready to be hurt again.
I don't see it. All right, we got more to discuss right after this. Hurt people.
Well, I know now why I'm friends with you. No, FanDuel does not hurt anybody. FanDuel only accentuates your life. They help you. They lift you up. They're like wings of an eagle. They're just going to make you soar. FanDuel.com/locked-on. Right now, the NBA season is in full swing. And right now, you can get same day parlays. You can get over-unders. It's phenomenal the amount of bets you can make on FanDuel. And right now, NBA season is it. So take your shot over at FanDuel right now. Use the promo code LOCKEDON. You're going to get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. $150 in bonus bets with any $5 bet that wins. FanDuel.com/locked-on, official sports partner and sports book of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcast, and the NBA. FanDuel.com/locked-on. Make every moment more. Okay, well, hurt people. So Mike White has a lot of therapy that he needs, is what you're saying, because he's hurt me. And Daniel, 199, welcome. Glad you're here.
We are happy that you're here.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Daniel, screw you for getting me.
I apologize to no one.
Well, I know you don't.
I apologize to no one. If you listen, if you no, it is. You got me fired up now. I'll tell you who it gets me fired up too. Yeah. I get fired up by people who are just like going out of their way to bash Auburn fans for sleeping in tents and then their team losing to Kentucky. They're sleeping in tents for 3 days and you slept in a tent for 3 days. Now you go watch your team lose. People falling all over themselves to bash a fan base for being passionate and caring about a sport. Like, that's what it means to be a fan. Right. Like that's it. Like that's what it is.
You take PTO and you spend thousands of dollars to go on airfares and hotels and take time away from your friends and family to do like
I'm perfectly man enough to admit Georgia should be 100% jealous of everything Bruce Pearl has done for the Auburn basketball
doesn't that
program.
make you mad?
It
That makes
makes
me mad.
me furious.
Makes me mad.
Why should that absolute dumpster fire of a city and an institution have a reputable basketball program? It's infuriating that Georgia can't, and that Auburn, of all places, are you kidding me, does. Listen, people are ready to fire Mike White. They're ready to talk about all these other SEC coaches are coming in and they're getting their teams to the tournament. Look what's happening in South Carolina this year, and look what Florida's doing. You know, they replaced Mike White with a kid from coaching at San Francisco, Todd Golden, and he's already got them. You know, he's going to get them in the tournament this year in his second year and all this. You have every right to be frustrated with Mike White, but let me say this, and I'm not defending that Mike White shouldn't be fired. I'm just telling you it's not for the reasons you're saying. That if Mike White's going to be fired, it should have nothing to do with the record of this team this year. Georgia wasn't supposed to be good. Georgia wasn't supposed to be 14-11 this year. Like that's what we're sitting at right now. We weren't supposed to be anywhere north
over
of 500 this year at all. And so, yes, we've lost 6 in a row. Yes, we lost both games to Florida this year. Yes, we've lost 10 straight now to Florida in basketball. Yes, it has been an absolute collapse here late in the season. That's not why you should be frustrated with Mike White or why Mike White should be fired. Everything about Mike White's future in Athens hinges, Clint, on who transfers out of this program after the season is over. All the things you need to know about the future of Georgia basketball, you will learn based on which of the young, talented pieces that we have, which, make no mistake, we have many young, talented pieces. Guys with multiple years of eligibility left, whether they're freshmen like Blue Kane or Silas Demery Jr., or whether they're upperclassmen transfers like RJ Melendez, who's got multiple years of eligibility left. And like Georgia's got plenty of young, talented pieces that they can pair with recruiting success that has happened. More guys coming in. Will Georgia be the place where people buy in, stay, and get developed? Or will Georgia be the place where people come, play for a year, and then get out of there as fast as they can for a greener pasture or a different program? If you want to know what Bruce Pearl has done at Auburn, you can look at recruiting success. Absolutely. He's recruited circles around the University of Georgia. But it's way more about his retention rate in the transfer portal and the way that he has sold a culture at Auburn and gotten people to buy in. If Silas Demery Jr. and Blue Kane don't transfer this year, Mike White's fine. See, Mike White is just fine. If they do, it's just the same old crap that Georgia's been dealing with for the last 2 decades.
Because this is the cycle that we will be stuck in. And this is like being stuck in second or third gear in a car. The RPMs are going to start revving up because all of a sudden we might say, but hey, we're going to get this recruit and this recruit. And hey, look out, we're in the mix for this one, that was true last year. That was true of many years prior.
Tom Crean?
Could be true. No,
Tom Crean, lots of great recruiting success.
Look at the NBA right now. There are 3 Bulldogs that played on his teams that are doing quite well in the NBA. Okay. However, if you look at what Mike White, the success is going to be measured, not, hey, this year's over. Okay, great. These aren't my guys or whatever you want to say. I'm going to go on the recruiting trail. I'm going to get a couple of 4 stars of maybe a 5-star, maybe pick up a couple of top 25 kids, maybe 2 in the top 50, something like that. Okay, that's thrilling and exciting.
It's great.
can you name besides Carmelo Anthony and maybe I don't know, like the last time a program was defined by one recruiting class, Daniel? And then with the transfer portal and NIL, they took off the year after because we're going to be stuck in second or third gear. Fine, fantastic. You can go recruit them and get them in here. And then the following year, they'll be gone. And then you'll say, okay, great, let's focus. We're going to get some other. No. It's the perpetual cycle of absolute purgatory in college basketball for that to take place. It's can you keep those guys and add two top 25, top 50, top 75.
And two high-level transfers. And
there you go. Okay. Now we got a squad. Now we got a foundation going.
Above. It has to be all of the above. I'm telling you. There are 4 freshmen on this team. Now, 2 of them, Dylan James and Mari Jordan, have barely played at all this year. Dylan James played some. Mari Jordan's barely played at all. I'm not sure what the future of those 2 young men will be like. It would be amazing if we could keep at least one of them.
Be great.
But if Georgia loses Blue Kane or Silas Demery, if they lose a guy like RJ Melendez who transfers again, I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter who comes in this transfer portal class. It doesn't matter Asa Newell. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
5-star kid. Like you said, stuck in second gear. It's like Mike White has put you in the friend zone at that point. You're stuck in the friend zone. Like you're never getting anywhere. Like you're just here. And that's what Georgia basketball is going to be if he can't retain players. And so should Mike White be fired? I don't know, and neither do you. Because the metric for whether or not he should be fired hasn't happened yet. It'll happen after the season when some NIL program comes calling and somebody has an opportunity to go somewhere else. And will they stay or will they go? That will tell me everything I need to know about Georgia basketball, because so far Georgia has been a place that you come and you play and you have some success and then you transfer somewhere else.
There it is.
You can't be that if you're going to be a winner. You can't be that.
This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. We will see you all tomorrow for more Bulldogs talk. See you guys then.
See ya.